So, hey, everybody, my name's Jason Whittet. I am in Boston, Massachusetts. I work for a company called Authorium and excited to be here at the Futurist Expo. First of all, congratulations on just pulling this together. I know when you reached out earlier in the year, you were trying to bring all these folks together, and lots of people have ideas and try this. So congratulations on the success. One of the things I love to say in starting out is, if there's 500 people on here and you go and say, wow, there's 8 billion people in the world, we're kind of a small little happy family of folks who've come together. And, you could be doing a lot of other things today, but you're here. And I'm going to make an assumption that you are excited about something, you're interested in something, you want to bring about some change in the future. And hopefully you're here today to get some inspiration, to network, to meet people. And so hopefully we can make a small contribution to that. And to take that to the next step, and do I just hit to advance slide? When you think about it, when you think about the future, all of you that are here today, you're the owners, the leaders, the builders of what is going to come. And, I present to you today with a little bit of humility. And, I have no greater understanding of what's going to happen in the future than anybody else. But I think for those of us that are in this space and are trying to think about how to build a better world, there really is no better way than doing. And so, again, if you're excited about something, interested in something, hopefully today is a catalyst to help you go to the next step and to take your ideas and bring them to reality. And so please connect into me, connect into the other people you see today. Hopefully this builds a nice movement and some energy around that. In talking about government services, I think maybe more than anything, this is a really exciting moment. And over the course of the talk, there's kind of a couple of things I wanted to hit. And there's a lot of different ways to look at building better government services. And if you ask 10 people, you may get 10 different ideas. But in thinking about this, I think there's three kind of key things. There's the Einstein quote that if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes just really understanding the problem and 5 minutes on the solution. So I want to spend a little time just exploring what is going on in government and why this is a unique moment and a unique opportunity to build better services. Obviously, everyone's talking about AI and some of the other evolutions in technology. So let's talk about some of those technologies that are having and helping to catalyze that moment. And then I think one of the really big things, whether you're interested in government or finance or healthcare or manufacturing, there's processes, right? There's a trade craft, and the ability to take these technologies and apply that subject matter expertise is a powerful thing. And so really taking the time to get into the weeds on government processes is a powerful way to unlock those opportunities to build new solutions, to build better services, and to have the outcomes you're looking for. So we're going to talk about those three things today. The other thing, I don't know if there's the opportunity, but this is for you. If you want to weigh in, if there is that ability, feel free to chime in and ask questions on as we go through. So this moment, there's another quote that I think about a lot when we talk about innovation. And I think some people attribute it to a Chinese curse, but I think they found out that it actually is more modern than that. But may you live in interesting times. And I take that to mean if everything was figured out and there were no problems for us to solve, we could all just kind of sit on our rocking chairs and watch football and have a beer and relax. But the world does have really crazy challenges, and it requires all of us, again, to be those owners and builders and innovators that are going to bring about the future. And in government in particular, government's been around for thousands and thousands of years. And if you go back to ancient Greece or wherever, people were collecting taxes and educating kids and providing healthcare and defending the borders. All of these things are the same things that governments have been doing since the beginning of time. But there's a bit of a consequence now, right? As you start to look at climate change and other things, as well as the ability to address some of these challenges with tools, with technologies that didn't exist before. So I think these two things come together to create a really exciting moment. And if you look at some of the drivers, if you say around the world, so there's 8 billion people who live in 197 countries according to the UN, depending how you count, and there's exactly at this moment 4,034 cities in the world with a population over 100,000 people, and almost all of those have some type of strategy or vision. And if you go and look at those, there's some trends that you tend to see. And one of them is, particularly in those cities, they're getting more crowded. More and more people are moving to cities, and that's putting pressure on infrastructure like transportation, like housing, social services. And that pressure is requiring leaders to find new ways of delivering those services. So that's one lever. The other is globalization. If you go ask government leaders what the most important thing is, almost across the board, it comes down to jobs and economy. And it's always 1, 2, 3 in any of the surveys or reports. And more, the world's gotten smaller, and governments are competing for jobs, for investment, for researchers, for companies to come put their headquarters and jobs. So that globalization, supply chain, things for food and other materials, all of those are putting pressure on people to build more favorable, better services that attract and retain economic and other investments. And then the other really big driver is climate change. Again, if you look at the governments around the world, there are all these different shocks and stresses. There are some cities that are incredibly prone to having earthquakes, and there are some that will never have an earthquake. There are some that have extreme water scarcity or extreme heat, and others that have all the water they will need. Everybody's got a different combination of resilient shocks and stresses, and these three things together are all putting pressure. And if you're looking for ways to, ideas to build new solutions or ways that you can go and have an impact, inside each of these are opportunities. And then as these pressures are rising at the same time, we're seeing the evolution and the increase, the ability, the capability of technology to play a role. And that's not to say that technology can solve everything, but it's become a really powerful tool in helping to build new services, better services, to scale services, to increase the agility, the speed at which you can innovate. And at the heart, the foundation of those technologies, the things that are powering and driving AI and other tools. So mobility, cell phone penetration, the ability to do Internet of Things has expanded greatly. Cloud computing has completely changed the ability to go and take an idea and bring it to reality. If you go back before the cloud and you had a brilliant idea, you would have had to go and buy servers and then wait for them to arrive and to provision them and get them set up and have spent all this money up front. Now we could collectively go and come up with an idea and build it this afternoon. That's powerful. Big data, and not just big data, but any data, the ability to pull data across silos, and then the ease at which you can build applications with things like low code and no code. So all of these things together, again, are making it easier for more people, not just technologists, to be able to build. So I think these are powerful drivers of this moment. And what we're seeing as we go to build better services is it's not just about the technologists or people in the IT, the CIO suite. More and more, it's those people that maybe have 5, 10, 20 years experience in government, but maybe know nothing about technology, but they know how to inspect a building, or they know how to build a road, or they know how to do adult social care. And they're able to go and take the processes that they go through, apply technology, and again, build better services. The other thing that I would challenge you, I think a lot of times when people think of innovation or doing things different, they think it's got to be this really huge idea, this big moonshot. And when you're thinking of government services, one of the things is you can take a small idea. You can take, maybe there's a process where, you wanted to do foster adoption and it took 7 months. And by changing the process, eliminating steps or moving things around, you can go down to 7 weeks. Or how can we go and shorten some of these processes? And if you scale those, that can have a huge, huge impact in people's lives. So it doesn't just have to be a revolution. Really understanding that the tradecraft and in evolving services can be very powerful as well. And I think collectively you're seeing all of this sort of, there was this smart cities, smart region, smart state movement. And I think that has matured and grown up into the digital transformation movement, which is more grounded in that tradecraft of understanding how government works. And so let's talk a little bit more about that. As you're thinking about building better services, one of the things that I think is really important is to understand time. If you look at all of those 197 countries or the cities around the world, the one constant, the one equality that everybody has is time. Everybody has the same amount of hours in the day. And how do you use that time to make sure that you are, if you flash forward to 2100, that you are adapting and thriving and surviving whatever those shocks and stresses that you may face, whatever the future of your region holds. How do you ensure that it's the best possible future that you can create? And a big part of that is making sure that you're solving real problems for real people. And ideally in this age, I don't know if you've heard of digital public infrastructure, the ability to build something really great and to share it and replicate it is powerful. And if you look at, whether it's Estonia, X-Roads, or, some of the work with MOSIP in India, people are building amazing things and sharing them. And that's powerful. And that's helping to accelerate the ability to get better services into the hands of more people. A couple of things, when you look at some of the challenges and opportunities, people, process, and technology is a way that is a common way of defining the elements of technology. When you think of people, anyone who's worked in government may have come across that sometimes people can be resilient to change. Sometimes it can be hard to go and do these big shifts. And one of the things that really helps is to go and take the time, again, coming back to that tradecraft, and really understanding the processes and what citizens need, what people need, what customers need, and designing services. And that can really help in accelerating and helping to navigate some of those cultural shifts. The other thing is process. I don't know who all of you are, but I'm going to say that most of you are probably either digital natives or very comfortable with technology. You know what a good digital experience is, and you know what a bad one is. And how do we go and make those processes work much better? I had to actually call our Internal Revenue Service the other day, and it felt like the entire system was designed to keep me from actually getting to a person. And it kept telling me that, thank you for calling, goodbye, and hanging up on me. And so that just leaves a really bad experience. And how do you improve those processes to help get people the information they need? The other thing that we see quite a bit is legacy technologies and the need to be able to break down silos across the different, enterprise ERP systems and other technologies. So those are a couple of things as you're looking to build better services that can help you in moving those forward. Now, in thinking about what are some of the tools, I tried to look into the future. There's, again, I think if you asked a bunch of people, you may get different answers, but these are 4 things that we are really excited about and wanted to share with you. Some of these you may be familiar with, some of them not. Um, Again, going back to that idea of understanding processes. So process mining is less about let's sit down and map out a customer journey, but how can we put in place systems that actually pull the data and help us understand how things are being used so that we can find the ways to improve them. With artificial intelligence, machine learning, the ability to drive automation and to look at some of those ugly, messy, tedious tasks that oftentimes are that take a lot of time or error prone, the ability both to automate them, but then to add in artificial intelligence and help advance decision making is evolving. Low code, no code. I don't know if any of you have used this. One of the barriers to new services, again, goes into that expertise and the need to go and hire people who can develop and do code and take all of that time. With low code, no code, the ability to click and drag and allow people, again, who may not be technologists, but who may know exactly the process they're looking for to be able to do things quickly and easily is really changing the ability to build better services. So low code, no code is a powerful tool. And then mock architecture, which I'll talk a little bit about, but microservices, API driven, cloud first, and then headless, meaning that your back end and front end are separated, allows you to be more agile and make changes. So these are 4 things. Again, these aren't the only 4 things, but there are 4 tools that I think are really, really powerful. If you have existing systems, if you're interested in a solution, if you're working on a solution, the ability to go and to use process mining can give you some really powerful data points. And again, instead of being anecdotal or mapping stuff out, to really show how things are being used and where are those places where you can save time, you can save money, you can improve accuracy. So there's a number of tools that you can use for this, but take a look at that as a way to help you in improving your services. And the other thing with data driven, with that data, the ability to go and show people that, hey, here's the benefit, the outcome, the results we can achieve, or that we have achieved, becomes a powerful driver for changing that culture, getting people on board, and helping to advance change. Again, robotic process automation and hyper automation. If you look at some of the tasks, and again, some of the things that take so much time in processing documents, in getting apples and oranges to go together, being able to use machine learning is a very, very powerful tool. And again, when you get to hyper automation, particularly as you get into things, guided search wizards, chatbots, other tools that can use AI to help guide people along in a real way, become very powerful. Low code, no code. I think I talked a lot about this, but I don't know if anybody has used solutions. We use this quite a bit, and it just, again, allows things to scale and be used, reduce cost, reduce time, and allow those experts to be able to use their expertise very, very quickly. And again, mock architecture, I think this is very excited. One of the things that you hear often from government services is vendor lock-in or solutions being used that don't work well with other solutions. I think this is a powerful step in changing that. There's a term, whether you use composability or modular solutions, the ability to take microservices and almost have the business service be its own little package, as opposed to having to get an entire piece of software, allows you to go and put things together almost like Legos and make a much more customer-centric and agile solution. So those are 4 tools I would encourage you to take a look at. What are some of the benefits? Why do we care about this? Again, people know what good is. So performance, having that impact, having that result, delighting citizens is powerful in creating those better experiences. And going back to those pressures, as people are under more pressure for cost, for resources, for time, creating those efficiencies. One of the things you'll find is I think sometimes people are like, we've got to be reduce costs, or we've got to really be efficient. Government isn't always about efficient. It's about solving a problem. It's about providing a service. But if you can do it in such a way that reduce the cost, the effort, that can help you do more. The other thing I mentioned is scalability. There's a lot of people in the world, and if we can build things and scale them and help more people, that's a really powerful thing. Being able to foster collaboration and have things go together across silos. What we see a lot is that problems that maybe used to live in one department now go across multiple departments. An example of that might be, with drug abuse, and police officers in many ways have become, first line mental health and social services, carrying Narcan and doing all these things that they maybe didn't have to do 20 years ago. It's completely changed the nature of that. Or libraries where you used to go get books really are now digital literacy and training and community centers. So a lot of things that, again, used to live in one area have changed. And how do you go and foster that? Security is always an issue, privacy, digital rights. And then as laws and regulations, particularly around things like AI, change, making sure that you're in compliance is another benefit of having better services. With that, I think I'm at time for questions, but wanted just to wrap up and say I think this is a really unique moment, no matter where you are in the world. Everyone's got different challenges and different opportunities. And can you use, whether it's AI or data or some of those architectures that I talked about, to help customize and build solutions that will take care of the people and the challenges in your area? And the really powerful place to start is understanding the processes and finding what are those things that you can eliminate, that you can self-service, that you can automate, and you can realize a really powerful impact by doing that.